Hello, my name is Sophie, and in the next 20 minutes, I'm going to show you how you can achieve your major financial goals in life in simple, easy steps. Easy in all respects. Easy to understand, easy to implement, and easy to achieve. You'll be surprised at what looks like an impossible or difficult target can be achieved so simply and easily with just a little bit of planning. I swear it works like magic, and it's called the magic of SIP. Perhaps you already know what I'm talking about, but just in case you don't, SIP means Systematic Investment Plan. If I were to ask you what are your major financial goals in life, I'm sure most of you would say one or all of these. If you're married with children, you'd say children's education and marriage, because all of us want to give our children a better life than we had ourselves. And if you do not have kids, then I'm sure your goal would be a retirement kitty, because nobody likes to be dependent on others financially in their old age when they cannot work any longer. No, that's not all. Today, with increase in disposable income, our aspirations are higher than that of our parents, and we all want to have a better lifestyle. Sure, there could be other pressing financial goals, like you want to buy a good house for yourself, or you want to buy yourself a car, or you want to travel the world over, or you want to save money for an unforeseen emergency, or you simply want to have so much money that you can give it away as charity. Good news is that you can achieve any of these goals in the same simple way. The method is the same and the result is the same. I'll show you the trick right away. Let us take the example of a child's education. But remember, all of those goals I mentioned a while ago can be achieved in the same simple, unbelievable way. I'm taking the example of a child's education because I feel it would be relevant to most people, perhaps to you too, but you could apply the same logic and the same method for achieving just about any other financial goal. Just give this a thought. In today's scenario, an engineering education from a good college could cost you anything to the tune of 10 lakhs. If you want your child to become a doctor, it would cost you, say, a minimum of 15 lakhs. And if you are keen on sending your child abroad for higher studies, you should have a minimum of 30 lakhs in your kitty. Now, let us assume your kid is less than a year old today. You would need money for his higher education 17 years down the line after he completes his 12th standard. At that point of time, 10 lakhs would translate into a whopping 27 lakhs. Sounds like a lot of money, but unfortunately, that is the amount you would need for his engineering education if we consider 6% as the rate of inflation. I know, inflation swings anywhere between 3% and 11%, but for our understanding, let us assume a conservative 6%. Or let us assume your kid is 4-year-old today. You will need money for his higher education a little earlier. Say after 13 years, that's when he will be through with his 12th standard. In that case, you will need 21 lakhs 32,928. Remember, you have lesser number of years to save. Where will you get all that money from? Can you avoid these future expenses? The day you brought your child into this world, it was destined that you would need this kind of money someday for his higher education. I'm sure you won't like to compromise on this. No loving, caring parent ever would. But do not despair. Remember, I told you, there is an easy, sure, short way of doing this, provided you are ready to act on it right away. I'll show you how in a minute. If I tell you you could easily save 27 lakhs for your child's higher education by saving a paltry 2,614 per month for the next 17 years, would you believe it? Sounds impossible, doesn't it? Sounds difficult. But the good news is, it's not only possible, it's also very, very simple. Let us take a sneak peek into the ways in which people save and what kind of returns they get. We'll go a little slow on this. Just suppose, you saved rupees 2,614 month after month for the next 17 years and put it in a locker in your house. What would you get after 17 years? Not even the money you put in, because inflation would quietly steal away your money from right under your nose. Your saving of 5,33,256 over a period of 17 years would erode to a mere 3,09,170. 6% inflation, you see. Most of us Indians love to keep our money in the safety of a bank, and a reliable and dependable bank will give us 3% by way of interest. Now suppose we put the same 2,614 per month in a bank for 17 years. My money would grow by 3%, and at the end of 17 years, I would get 6,93,660, or let us round it off as 7 lakhs. Woefully short of the 27 lakhs I would require for my child's education. As a matter of fact, it's a whole 20 lakhs short. Suppose you invested rupees 2,614 per month in PPF or Public Provident Fund for the next 17 years. Your purse would be lighter by 5,33,256 over a period of 17 years. Now PPF gives you 8%, which means after 17 years, with 8% interest, you would get 11,04,014. Would 11 lakhs suffice for your child's engineering education? Remember, we need 27 lakhs. Some of us love to put our money in company FD or bank FD, and it gives us an even better return than PPF. It gives us around 10%. But even with that, if I stashed away rupees 2,614 per month for 17 years, for my investment of 5,33,256, I would get rupees 13,39,693. Definitely better than the earlier two options, yes, but miserably short of my target of 27 lakhs. And now I'll give you the formula for the magic that I promised. If you invested the same paltry sum of rupees 2,614 per month in mutual funds by way of SIP, you will achieve your target of 27 lakhs by the time your child needs money for his higher education. And this is possible only because investments in mutual funds by way of SIP, and I emphasize by way of SIP, that is Systematic Investment Plan, will give you approximately 17% if you have a time horizon of 10 years or more. Have I made a sweeping statement? You could challenge me on that and I'll show you how. But for that, I need to tell you a little about the Sensex and its history. I'm sure all of you have heard about the Sensex going up and the Sensex going down, and how it has made a prince into a pauper and a pauper into a prince. But I'll tell you something more interesting. The Sensex started in 1979, and at that time it was at 100 points. In January 2008, that is 2 years ago, the Sensex was at its peak at 21,500. And then came the big, bad recession, and the Sensex had a free fall. And by October 2008, it had fallen from its glory of 21,500 to 10,000. That's more than 50%. Now suppose a person had invested 1 lakh in the Sensex in 1979 when it was at 100 points, and he did absolutely nothing about it at all. His 1 lakh became 1 crore in October 2008, even after the Sensex had had its free fall of more than 50%. The moral of the story is that if a person remains invested in the Sensex over a long period of time, his invested money has got no option but to grow in a huge way. In the 30 or 31 years history of the Sensex, there have been multiple rise and falls, all of these triggered by events within our country and without. We had 2 wars, the Kargil War, the Sino-Indian skirmish. We have had 3 major financial scandals. We all remember the scam of Harshad Mehta, Ketan Parekh, and the latest Satyam scam. Our 2 prime ministers, Indira Gandhi and Rajiv Gandhi, got assassinated. 10 different governments rose and toppled over, and we had a really unfair share of natural disasters like the Latur earthquake, the tsunami, the floods in Mumbai, the droughts, the famines, and what not. All these events have caused the Sensex to crash, but it has again risen only because the economy of our country is growing from strength to strength. This is precisely why the person who invested 1 lakh reaped 1 crore simply by remaining invested. These kind of jhatkas, or events which cause the Sensex to shake and crash, have happened in the past and they will happen in the future, but for a person who remains invested no matter what, his money is bound to grow thanks to India's growth story.